Hello and welcome. I am Pranay Upadhyay and you are watching World Today. A deepfake shockwave from Donald Trump. The US president has posted an AI-generated video showing his predecessor, Barack Obama, being arrested in the Oval Office with no disclaimer and a caption hinting at justice. The clip has sparked outrage, misinformation fears, and warning about how dangerous fake visuals could shape real-world politics.
In a sensational move, US President Donald Trump has triggered outrage by sharing an AI-generated video that shows Barack Obama being arrested by the FBI inside the Oval Office. The video, completely fabricated using deepfake technology, depicts Obama being handcuffed and taken away by armed agents while seated at the Resolute desk. Trump posted the clip without any disclaimer, captioning it, "It's only a matter of time. Justice will be served." The video appears to be a reaction to a recent report that Obama-era officials may have been involved in authorizing intelligence surveillance during the 2016 election. A narrative Trump and his allies have long pushed, despite no formal charges or verified evidence. Civil rights advocates and tech watchdogs warn this is a dangerous precedent, where fake visuals may blur the lines between fact and fiction for millions of voters. So far, there's no comment from Obama's team, and the FBI has not responded. But experts say the video could violate platform policies on misinformation. Bureau Report, India Today.
President Donald Trump has yet again shown his frustration with those who are asking for the release of more files in connection to Jeffrey Epstein case. Trump wrote, and I quote, "Nothing will be good enough for troublemakers and radical lunatics making request. It will always be more, MAGA." The Trump administration is facing heavy backlash over the Jeffrey Epstein case. The president has sued Wall Street Journal over a birthday message where, according to the journal, Trump wrote "Happy birthday and may every day be another wonderful secret" with doodle of a naked woman. Trump denies writing any such birthday letter and threatened Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Wall Street Journal, to be dragged in court. The Jeffrey Epstein case was triggered after a digital fight between Elon Musk and Trump. The Tesla CEO hinted about Trump's involvement in Epstein files since then. POTUS calls it a politically motivated campaign designed to discredit his administration. Israeli assault on Gaza shows no sign of slowing down, and the human cost is deepening. As airstrikes and tank advances displaces thousands, another haunting image has emerged. A 4-year-old starved to death in her mother's arm. With over 500,000 Gazans facing famine, the crisis is no longer just about war, it's about survival.
A gut-wrenching tragedy from Gaza. A 4-year-old girl has died of hunger in northern Gaza, her frail body unable to survive. Without food, clean water or medicine. She died in her mother's arms in a tent made of plastic sheets. This isn't an isolated incident. The World Food Programme warns that over 500,000 people in Gaza are on the brink of famine, many of them children. This as Israel's offensive in Gaza intensifies. In the north, airstrikes continue to pound Jabalia and Beit Lahia. In central Gaza, Israeli tanks have pushed into refugee camps near Deir al-Balah, triggering mass civilian displacement once again. Meanwhile, aid trucks remain stuck at border crossings, unable to deliver food, water or medicine. And with each passing hour, the cost of delay is measured not just in bombs, but in empty stomachs and lost lives. Bureau Report, India Today.
And you watched this report of coming from the Gaza and heart-wrenching visuals from Gaza. And I'm being joined by Professor Colonel Gabi Siboni, who's a researcher at the Jerusalem Institute of Strategy and Security. Professor Siboni, Israeli tanks have just rolled into Deir al-Bala for the first time, which seems totally at the odds with what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is talking about, building a humanitarian city in Gaza, and what President Donald Trump also intends to make Gaza in some kind of a Rivera. What this new Israeli assault is about, what should we make out of it?
We are determined to destroy Hamas. Hamas is hiding behind population, is stealing the humanitarian aid that we transfer to the population. By doing so, it is rehabilitating its military capabilities because they steal the humanitarian aid and they sell it back to the population, to the poor population. So this is the situation. We need to stop it. And so we are trying to, while of course trying to get to our hostages. So what we are going to do is to get into new areas where we did not get before, evacuate the population for their own protection so they are not harmed, and fight Hamas with the absence of population so we can destroy
But Professor
them.
Siboni, you have been trying this for over 20 months. Hamas has not been wiped out.
We will
as
do
yet.
it for the next, listen to me,
Please.
we will do it for the next 20 years if needed, until we destroy Hamas.
Anyway, Professor Siboni, just a while ago, the UK and 25 other countries have called out Israel for barely letting aid trickle into Gaza. And it's heartbreaking. People, including kids, are getting killed just trying to grab food at aid center. Even Pope Leo has spoken about it, and he has warned that the indiscriminate force and forced population transfer. What is next for people of Gaza with all this going on?
We are doing our best to provide humanitarian aid. As I mentioned, Hamas is stealing this humanitarian aid, is taking control of it, and this is why you see those images. The Hamas is abusing the population, and this is what they do. So any claim you have, you should address it to Hamas. Israel is doing, we are doing our utmost best to provide humanitarian aid to the population. We are doing our best to do it in the most humanitarian way.
Professor Siboni, you are saying that you are letting the humanitarian aid go. However, the United Nations agencies, UNRWA and other countries are also accusing Israel for not letting the humanitarian aid go into Gaza. So what this impasse is about? What is the solution?
Well, I suggest you pick your sources better, because we know that UN is biased completely. We know that UNRWA was not only supporting Hamas, but it participated, UNRWA employees participated in the massacre of the 7th of October. UNRWA facilities have been used for digging underground tunnels. UNRWA facilities have been used to launch rockets. So UN is completely biased, and we should pick our sources better. We know exactly what we do, and we are acting in the most humanitarian way according to the humanitarian international law.
Professor Siboni, the impasse or the standoff remains. You are accusing United Nations or United Nations agencies on the other side.
Sorry, I don't need to accuse. There are facts. I don't accuse anyone. There are facts. Seeing, I'm surprised you did not see them. UNRWA employees with UNRWA uniform taking bodies of Israeli kidnapped bodies, and they put him on a UNRWA vehicle. So I suggest you pick your sources and understand what's going on, and not quote this propaganda that is being spread all over.
Definitely, Professor Siboni, we get sources on either side. We get reports from either side. So, but my question is that when do you think we might see a peace finally coming back to Gaza? Because ultimately, Israel also wants a solution. So let me complete my question, Professor Siboni. Any chance of a breakthrough in talks between Hamas and Israel? Because there are some back-channel talks. And is there a hope for resolving this hostage crisis anytime soon?
There is one condition for us Israelis to make sure that Hamas is destroyed. Hamas are the new Nazis. The same way we did not get in terms with the Nazis in Europe. we did not get in terms. We did not seek peace until they were destroyed. So first we destroy Hamas, and then we seek peace.
Thank you very much, Professor Siboni, for having sharing your views. But I think the question remains here that what is the end game? What is the end solution to this problem? Because the world is waiting for this war to end. Moving on to another big story, a surprise meeting in Moscow and a message to West. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Iran's top advisor Ali Larijani have held secretive talks behind Kremlin doors. At the heart of it, nuclear cooperation and defiance of sanctions. As tensions rise, this rare huddle could mark a new chapter, an emerging axis of resistance. Let's have a look at this report.
A shadowy meeting. Two sanctioned regimes. One high-stakes agenda. In a surprise diplomatic twist, Russian President Vladimir Putin held an unannounced high-level meeting with Iran's top advisor Ali Larijani. And Tehran's nuclear program was front and center. Behind closed Kremlin doors, the two leaders reportedly discussed nuclear cooperation, regional power play, and ways to bypass Western sanctions. The timing is no coincidence, with the IAEA tightening its grip on Iran's suspected uranium enrichment sites and Western intelligence warning of accelerating nuclear ambitions. This Moscow-Tehran huddle sends a clear message. The axis of defiance is growing stronger. As both nations stare down isolation from West, the Putin-Larijani meet is being seen as a calculative power move, one that could reshape fault lines in the Middle East and beyond. No official word yet, but in geopolitics, silence often speaks the loudest. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now let's talk about a crash which happened in Dhaka. A quiet afternoon at a Dhaka school turned into a nightmare today when a Bangladesh Air Force fighter jet crashed straight into a school building, killing 19 people, including children, teachers, and the pilot. The Milestone School and College, usually filled with the sounds of lessons and laughter, was instead engulfed in flames and panic. So how did a routine training sortie end in one of the deadliest school disasters in Bangladesh recent memory? Our next report tells you more.
Tragedy struck the heart of Bangladesh's capital Dhaka on Monday, July 21st, when a fighter jet crashed into a school building. At least 19 people have been killed, including a Class 6 student, 2 teachers, and the pilot. The incident occurred at the Milestone School and College in Uttara, sending shock waves across the country. The jet, an F-7B GI, a Chinese-made fighter used by the Bangladesh Air Force, took off for a routine training flight around 1:06 p.m. Just 10 minutes later, it slammed into the school campus, erupting in a fiery explosion. Classrooms were full. Students were either taking exams or attending regular lessons. When I was picking my kids and went to the gate, I realized something came from behind. Then I heard an explosion. When I looked back, I only saw fire and smoke. Then I just rushed my kids on an auto rickshaw and saw fire and smoke again. There were many guardians and kids here. 16 students were among the dead and over 100 others are injured, some critically. Doctors at Dhaka's Burn Institute say at least 8 victims are fighting for their lives. Emergency responders rushed in to douse the flames and rescue the wounded. One haunting image shows a jet engine buried in rubble, where a classroom once stood. Another, a man bloodied and barely conscious, being led away from the wreckage. Interim leader Muhammad Yunus called the tragedy a moment of profound pain for the nation and expressed deep sorrow for the lives lost. His office has issued emergency helplines for families. As Bangladesh mourns its dead and the investigation begins, serious questions are being raised. Not just about training protocols, but about the aircraft itself. Was this Chinese-made fighter jet simply unfit to fly in the first place? And will Dhaka raise this issue with Beijing? Bureau Report, India Today.
Now moving on, let's talk about the happy return of British stealth fighter. For over a month, it sat still. A $110 million British stealth jet marooned in Kerala, drawing curiosity, memes and even questions in the UK Parliament. But the wait is finally over. After 5 long weeks on Indian soil, the F-35B has returned home. Here's the story of the fighter jet that refused to leave.
For 5 long weeks, it did not move. A $110 million British stealth fighter jet stranded on Indian soil, soaked by monsoon rains, shrouded in silence, and fueling global curiosity. Now the wait is over. The F-35B, one of the world's most advanced combat jets, is finally set to take off from Thiruvananthapuram airport on Tuesday morning. The aircraft was diverted to Kerala on June 14th after hitting bad weather over the Indian Ocean. But a technical failure left it grounded. Even engineers from the Royal Navy's HMS Prince of Wales could not fix it at first. As the jet sat motionless on the tarmac, images went viral. Memes flooded the internet, joking it had fallen in love with God's own country. In London, the jet's prolonged stay even reached the House of Commons, with lawmakers questioning how a 5th-generation fighter remained grounded for so long. A 14-member UK team was later flown in with specialist tools, working in silence. No updates, no statements. Exact timings and refueling stops remain classified. The mission may be near its end, but the story will linger. Now, with the skies clear and the runway waiting, the jet that wouldn't leave is finally ready to fly home. Bureau Report, India Today.
Korea's Lee Jae-myung administration has come up with a consumer coupon plan. The government is aiming to provide about 150,000 won, nearly about $108, to all South Koreans. It aims at boosting domestic spending and reviving the sluggish economy. While foreign nationals are largely excluded, exceptions are made for permanent residents. Married immigrants and recognized refugees are long, as they are registered on South Korean resident registration system and subscribe to the national health insurance. Near poverty households and single parent families will receive around 300,000 won, and basic living allowance recipients will get about 400,000 won per person. However, there are concerns that the coupon program could add strain to the government's fiscal health, which has already been put to the test.